Girls, this Sunday is the Yom Hilula, the yahrzeit of a very big tzaddik. His name was Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, the AriZal. Children, he was a tremendously great tzaddik. It's the day that his neshama went up to Shamayim, and it's going to be this Sunday. So today's story is dedicated to him, but it's also connected with this week's Shabbat, which is a really special Shabbat. It's called Shabbat Nachamu, the Shabbos that comes before Tisha B'Av. Next week, Thursday, will be Tisha B'Av, the day that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, the day we're going to pray to Hashem to rebuild it. We only break a house if we're going to build a bigger one in its place. So when Hashem destroyed the Beit HaMikdash, it was only so that Be'ezrat Hashem Moshiach will come and we'll get an even greater Beit HaMikdash than the ones we've had before. But the AriZal's father, his name was Reb Shlomo Ashkenazi, Shlomo Luria. One day, he was sitting in Eretz Yisrael learning Torah, and he was deep in learning Torah, and his wife, she was going to have a baby. And before she had the baby, all of a sudden, while he was sitting learning Torah, he was extremely holy. The Malach Eliyahu HaNavi, oh, why did my Malach Eliyahu HaNavi, oh here it is. Eliyahu HaNavi appears to him, and he tells him, Reb Shlomo, your wife is going to give birth to a baby boy. He's going to be extremely holy, and he's going to teach Torah to so many people, and he's going to reveal parts of Torah that have been hidden and forgotten about since the days of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And his Torah that he is going to be teaching is going to be the Torah that will pave the way to the coming of Moshiach Tzidkenu. He's going to reveal secrets of Torah called Kabbalah. And he said, Reb Shlomo, on the day of his Brit Milah, don't do the Brit Milah till I come. And Reb Shlomo said, of course, Eliyahu HaNavi, for sure. Girls, I'm sorry, those chairs need to be put down and not touched. So, no, that's enough. So, true enough, Reb Shlomo went home and he was so happy, and he thanked HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He thanks the Eibishter and he says thank you. And true enough, his wife, shortly after that, everybody wondered, will it be a boy, will it be a girl? Reb Shlomo knew it's going to be a boy, but he didn't tell anyone. He kept it secret, and he didn't tell anyone that his wife was going to have a boy, and that Eliyahu HaNavi wanted to come to the Brit Milah. He comes in any case, but this time Eliyahu HaNavi says, wait till I reveal myself to you. And true enough, Reb Shlomo's wife gives birth to a beautiful baby boy. And on the 8th day, all the guests come and they say, oh, Mazel Tov, Reb Shlomo, we're so happy for you, a boy, a son, oh, lovely, oh yeah, Mazel Tov. Doing the Brit, and Reb Shlomo looks around, and he sees all different guests, but he does not see Eliyahu HaNavi. And he says, no, not all the guests are here yet. Not yet. And the Mohel said, Reb Shlomo, it's getting late. Doesn't matter if all the guests are not here yet. We should do the Brit Milah already. And Reb Shlomo said, no, not yet. More guests need to come. Oh, it doesn't matter if not so many guests are here. But Reb Shlomo wouldn't agree, because he was looking for, who was he looking for? Eliyahu HaNavi. And he waited, and a long time came, and Reb Shlomo sees that Eliyahu HaNavi hasn't come. And he goes to the corner and he starts to cry, and everybody's wondering, why is he crying? It's this baby's Brit Milah. And he prays to Hashem, and he says, Hashem, maybe because of my sins, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe that's why Eliyahu HaNavi isn't appearing. Oh, please, Hashem, I apologize if I ever did anything wrong. And please help me to only do the right thing. He did what's called Teshuvah Ila'ah. A teshuvah that's a very, very high teshuvah. Not that he did anything wrong, but he prayed to Hashem. And all of a sudden, to his delight, Eliyahu HaNavi appears. And Eliyahu HaNavi says, I'm going to be the sandak to hold the baby. But nobody can see me. Only you can see me. Nobody could see Eliyahu HaNavi other than Reb Shlomo. And he tells him, Reb Shlomo, you'll be the sandak the man who will hold the baby, and I will sit on your lap, but nobody will see me, and I will hold the little baby. And children, that's what they do. Oh, what happened to my baby? Mora keeps losing her puppets. Okay, we'll use him. It's okay, we'll use him.
I know it's a baby.
It's okay, it's also a baby. And at the Brit Milah, Reb Shlomo sits, and everybody thinks, how funny. Usually, you give the sandak to be the sandak
I think I see the
to... Doesn't matter, girls, please sit.
When you put it here.
Oh, thank you. You give the sandak like to the grandfather or something like that. But nobody could see that the one who was really holding the baby was none other than Eliyahu Hanavi. Everyone thought it was Reb Shlomo, but it was really Eliyahu Hanavi. And he holds the baby, and the baby has a Brit Milah, and he gets the name Yitzchak. And so his name becomes Rabbi Yitzchak Luria. And even at a very young age, children, everybody could see he was a tremendous Torah learner. He would sit and learn Torah and daven to Hashem, and he had a tremendous mind. When he was only 7 years old, Lo Aleinu, his father, Reb Shlomo, passes away. And now his mother, she can't support the family. So she goes with him. She leaves Eretz Yisrael. No, darling, you need to sit, my love. She leaves Eretz Yisrael and she says, we don't have any money. And in order to manage, we need to go live with my brother, Reb Eliezer. I think it was Eliezer. Maybe I'm mixing the names. Sorry, kids. In Egypt. Come, we'll go live in Egypt. And so little Yitzchak, at the age of 7, leaves Israel and goes to live in Egypt with his uncle. And when he's 15 years old, his uncle sees that he's so great and that he's such a great Torah learner. He gives his young daughter, who is also 15, his cousin, and they get married, children. And he stays living in Egypt for many years. I'm not going to use the puppet, the small one. I'm going to use the adult. He marries his own cousin, and everybody in Egypt realizes how great he is. But as years go by and they have lots of children together, Yitzchak tells his wife, I want to return back to the land of my... It's fine, just sit. I want to return back to the land that I was born in. I want to go back to Israel. Israel is the holiest country. It's been good that we're living here in Egypt and we had money, but I want to go back. And his wife says to him, of course, yes, let's go back. Where would you like to live? And he said, I want to live in Tzfat. So they travel back to the city of Tzfat, up in the Galil, by the Galil. And the city of Tzfat had many mekubalim, many great rabbis who secretly learned secrets of Torah, but they didn't know as much as Rabbi Yitzchak. And when Yitzchak came, he starts to teach Torah to everyone. And he begins to gather more and more students. And he starts teaching them Kabbalah. He teaches them the teachings of the Zohar. Who wrote the Zohar? Who knows? Right, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Excellent girls. And one of the rabbis feels like maybe this is wrong. They come to him and they say, Rabbi Yitzchak, I can't believe you're teaching secrets of Torah to so many students. Maybe this is wrong. You shouldn't do it. You need to stop. The Zohar is the secret parts of Torah. And Rabbi Yitzchak said, but you know what? This teaching is what's going to bring Moshiach. And after him, years later, would come the Baal Shem Tov, who really taught the teachings of Kabbalah through Chassidut to the entire world. But Rabbi Yitzchak said, I hear the footsteps of Mashiach. I can hear already that Mashiach is on his way. I hear the footsteps of Mashiach. And we need to teach the secrets of Torah to everyone. And still the rabbis, one of the rabbis, a couple of them were very angry until Eliyahu Hanavi appeared to them. And he says, what Rabbi Yitzchak Luria is doing is good. He should teach Kabbalah to more and more people now. You mustn't stop him. Let him teach. And so he continues to teach Kabbalah and Torah to more and more people. Children, Rabbi Yitzchak was known to never ever. He knew the mysticism of Torah, the mystics of Torah, all the things. But if ever there was, let's say, a little insect near him, Rabbi Yitzchak would never kill it. Let's say it was a bee or something, unless it was harmful, unless it was stinging somebody. I know it's a bee. A bee or a fly, unless it was stinging people, but let's say it was bzzz, bzzz, the bee would come. Rabbi Yitzchak would say, only Hashem can give life. If anybody kills this bee, nobody can bring it back to life except for Hashem. Life is godly. Life is a gift from God. Now, if it's dangerous and it's stinging somebody and it's hurting them, then of course we swat it away. We try to, if we need to kill it, we kill it. But Rabbi Yitzchak would not even harm little insects. If he walked in the street and he saw ants, Rabbi Yitzchak would be careful. He'd say, I don't want to kill anything that has life in it, unless of course it's harming somebody. But shh, right? If you didn't see it, you didn't see it. Now it doesn't mean, children, that we are not allowed to kill insects. If sometimes we need to kill insects, sorry, can you see what's happening there? Then we do that. Yasmin, darling, we can leave her, sweetie. Okay, we can just leave her now. And so Rabbi Yitzchak, it says, children, that sometimes people would see when he was sitting alone, sometimes snakes would come near him. And he was so holy, he'd sit and learn Torah. He wouldn't kill the snakes, but the snakes would never harm him. Now, if God forbid it was harming somebody else, he would, of course, chase it away or kill it or take a stick and kill it. But Rabbi Yitzchak Luria was so holy that even a snake would come by him and wouldn't harm him and wouldn't hurt him. Now, all the way, many people started to hear about Rabbi Yitzchak and how great he was and how holy he was. And people started to come to him. Many, many people. If people were feeling bad and had headaches the whole time and was sick, they would say, oh, Rabbi Yitzchak, I feel so bad. Please, can you give me a bracha? And as soon as he gave them a bracha, they would suddenly feel well. They would be good. And people began to see that Rabbi Yitzchak was a great miracle worker. Rabbi Yitzchak Luria could do lots, whatever blessing he gave would come true. Oh, Rabbi Yitzchak, I need money, I'm so poor. And Rabbi Yitzchak would bless them and he would get money, would get a job. And he was also known to be, children, very, very, very mystical. In fact, one day, it was Erev Shabbat. Shabbat was almost coming in. And they were all the way in Tzfat, up by the Galil in the mountains. And he turns to his students and he says, my dear students, maybe we should go sing Lech Hadodi in Jerusalem. Who wants to come with me now to Jerusalem to sing Lech Hadodi? Now, the Galil till Jerusalem, meaning Tzfat to Jerusalem, is hours and hours and hours of travel, maybe 20 hours of travel. Shkela. It was a long travel, children. And how were they going to get there to sing Lech Hadodi? And yet, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria would say, who wants to come? We can go right away. We'll be in Jerusalem to sing Lech Hadodi. And some of the students said, yes, we'll go right away. And some of the students said, oh, we should go ask our wives first. And Rabbi Yitzchak said, oh, had you all said, yes, we want to go right now to Jerusalem to say Lech Hadodi, it would have happened. Moshiach would have come right here, right now, and we would have gone to Jerusalem. Now, because he was doing so many miracles, children, his fame went far and wide. And all the way in Europe, in a city called Lublin, there was a rabbi, and we're told actually this rabbi's name had the same name as his father, also Shlomo Luria, and he was known as the Maharshal, and he was probably Rabbi Yitzchak's great uncle. And he thinks, okay, he lost his kippah, sorry children, but let's pretend he has a yarmulke. I lost the yarmulke, I'm so sorry. And he says, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I've heard that my great nephew, if people are sick, they come to him. If people need money, they come to him, and it all comes true. Maybe he's doing black magic. Maybe I need to put him into cherem. Okay, I think, darling, those two friends needs to go to Mora Cheli's bank. Amuna, you want to go to Mora Cheli's bank? You're so welcome. You want to go to Mora Cheli's bank? Okay, let's go. Okay. Yeah, let's go, sweetie. It's okay. So children, he says, I'm going to put him in cherem. Cherem means he's excommunicated. No one's allowed to talk to him. No one can come near him. No one can learn Torah near him. And Rabbi Yitzchak hears about this. And he says, oh no, my great uncle, the Maharshal, he thinks that what I'm doing is black magic, God forbid. Really, what I'm doing is through Kabbalah. No, Rivka, you can't. Rivka, please stop. What I'm doing is through Torah. And I'm helping people. And God forbid, I'm not using anything against Torah. And he calls his two faithful students. He had two very close students. One of them was Reb Chaim Vital. And the other one was Reb Yisrael Srug. And he calls them and he says, Reb Chaim Vital and Reb Yisrael Srug, I want you to travel to Lublin, to my great uncle. And here, take with you a plate of hot food from Israel. I don't have the hot food. Take with you a plate of hot food from Israel and go give him the food. And tell him that what I'm doing isn't, God forbid, black magic, but it is from Torah. Tell him not to make the mistake not to put me in cherem. Please don't excommunicate me. And so they take the plate of food and they bring the plate of food, and all of a sudden, children, they start to travel, but instead of being able to travel, Hashem sends them kfitzatam derech. It says that clouds came. And just like when Moshiach comes, we're told clouds will take us to the land of Israel. Clouds came and carried them till Lublin, where the Maharshal was. And they arrive and they say, our holy Rabbi Maharshal, we've brought you a plate of food from Israel. And he touches it. And the Maharshal says, oh my goodness, it's still hot. How is it possible? He could see it was all food from Israel. And no, darling, this is not safe. Okay, you know what, children? I'm going to pause the video 1 second.